space is real. The hype is not. Margins will get compressed. The cost per gram will go down significantly. Look what happened in Washington State. Things will get overstated. The one thing I will not underestimate is I would not short and I would not buy Canopy. I think the Constellation deal, it's very blue sky. What happens with the cannabis drinks, I do believe in that. But at the same time, there will be significant margin compression. And these farmers, people who have the farms, I think many of them will go out of business. If you cannot keep your cost per gram down, which is the biggest problem that Cronos is having right now, because they're reliant on these indoor facilities and they're moving towards greenhouse facilities. If you can't keep that cost per gram down, then you're going to go out of business.
We know that great manias happen, and then you work out the excess. This happened in the railroad mania in the 1840s. It happened in the South Sea bubble. Meaning, at some point, there were, how many soft drink companies there were? There were 200 in the United States. Now there are about 6. The point is, yes, that we'll work away, we'll get rid of the excess, but is this as a theme enduring? For sure. Think about what happened with Uber, and then all of a sudden, big auto manufacturers said, hey, I'll have some of that. Big contributions. I'll invest $500. That's what we're seeing now. We all know the Constellation Brands news, and we know the M&A activity. It should be, in principle, early stages.
It's a lot easier for institutional investors to invest in this market, and in fact, they are coming in a lot faster. But we often refer to, I've seen this in emerging markets. You see this in developing markets that are less liquid. You see the ETF-ization of your underlying market. And if you don't know how your stocks trade, you're dead. So bottom line here is you're seeing things get lifted up. But again, the fundamentals here, to me, are about strategics coming in, and I would say only 1/3 of this is about a rec marijuana market. This is all about global cannabis. You believe in this story. You believe in global dynamics of a consumer product story, of wellness, and of pharma. The rec story is great, but that's not a reason to have valuations where they are, and Canadian or U.S. market alone is not a reason to have valuations where they are. This is imputing a global and an international valuation to all these companies.
You don't think there's too much hype, speculative money just plowing into these names, and that someone's going to get hurt on the other side?
No, someone definitely will. But against that is the fact that Canopy was a company that when I first started talking about when Rob Sands came on, he made that big investment Constellation. And he said, Jim, you're ignoring how big this market is. Now, there's a lot of retail money in this stock, and it's a very difficult to borrow stock. And I think, as Tim and I know, that it was a really big news today that maybe the government is getting a little bit softer on medical. But I've got to tell you, if you're buying it up here, you better have more of a thesis than just that the quarter's going to be good, because I think October 17th is not going to be nearly as much of a watershed. That's repeal day of prohibition in Canada. And Scott, I think that these stocks are going to come down hard after October 17th.
Yeah. What's the common thread with these guys? They're young, they're entrepreneurial. What else?
I think that they genuinely believe in the power of cannabis to stop opiates. They believe in the power of cannabis to be able to make it so that we are safer from violence at home, because alcohol is such a big part of that. I think they believe in cannabis as a way to be able to have less drunk driving. But most importantly, I think they believe in cannabis because it's a heck of a lot healthier than everything else we put in our bodies.
The issue that you've got is because of the politics in this space. The industry largely operates in the United States as a cash business. There's no credit, no banking, nothing. I mean, it keeps it in a pre-industrial state. It's impossible to grow the industry appropriately when you're not allowed to use any basic business tools like credit, like distribution, like brand. And, in Canada, which is where Tilray operates, things are moving into the 21st century slowly but very steadily. And they're going to have a nice base from there, and they can export it to other, shall we say, countries where the politics are more reasonable. But it's going to take a lot longer than 5 years to grow into that valuation.
Cannabis is one of those great global super themes. And we've seen this now in country after country, Israel, Australia, Canada, where people end up voting with their dollars and just buying stocks because they're cannabis related. Valuations now have truly gotten ahead of themselves, and the retail investor here is now buying air effectively.